Hello everyone, and welcome to the Unreal breakdown for Nightcrawler Marvel Rivals fan art. This is created by Ishali and myself as a collaboration. My name is John Gavin Fisher. I'm a 3D artist. I worked on the 3D character that you see here, as well as his rigging, animation, textures, and more. And Ishali is a 2D artist who created not only the original concept for this Nightcrawler fan art, but also she made a lot of the background elements that we're going to be seeing, including this lovely animation back here. Let's first break it down by checking out the scene itself. So we have some pretty basic direct lighting with a lot of indirect lighting intensity. I cut down a lot on skylighting, atmosphere, all of that. Just tried to keep it as simple as possible. In addition, I have a few other things hidden in here, including a hidden extra Nightcrawler, who is the alternate skin. One additional thing you're going to need to keep in mind whenever you're creating a Marvel Rivals style project in Unreal Engine 5 is you are going to want to cut down on pretty much any sources of alternate light you can think of. Bloom, a lot of the eye adaptation, tone mappers, all of this, turn it off. You want it to be as flat as possible. So first let's check out the model. This is my Nightcrawler model that I had started with an unholy abomination of ripping Spider-Man and Loki from Marvel Rivals and smashing them together to get a base mesh. From there, I modeled everything else on top of it. Texture, everything, the whole 9 yards of general 3D modeling workflow. You can see the materials on the side. Don't worry, we will get to those. Additionally, we can check out here the unlit version, the wireframe, which is very dense, similar to a lot of Marvel Rivals models. And here's the wireframe on the lit model, so we can take a look at this beauty and all of the detail on him. After I had made the model and imported it into Unreal, I gave him a skeleton inside of Unreal. Yeah, I decided to kind of skip the whole making it in Maya part and just go straight into Unreal using their newer rigging tools. And I've got to say, it's honestly pretty simple. It's not too hard, even for a more character-focused guy like me who's not much of a technical artist. In addition to all of the tools that it gives you to make the skeleton, it also gives you the modular control rig, which is about as easy to set up as you can imagine for getting an awesome control rig very quickly, very easily. Okay, now we're going to finally get into the materials, which is what I know you're all here for. Starting off, I have a pretty basic outline. You can find tutorials almost anywhere on the internet for this. Nothing too fancy. Unlike this. So this is the armor material that I have. I have a lot of materials just like it, but we're going to take a look at this one to break down what's going on. I followed a tutorial series on the Unreal YouTube, so you can follow that if you want a more detailed breakdown on everything, but it's for creating comic shaders. I did have to modify it to go to mount, so I'm going to kind of hover over different sections and explain what each one is all about, and you can try to extrapolate what I did if you are trying to recreate this in your own file. In this top left quadrant here, I have the rim light, this white highlight you see on him back here. I know this isn't exactly how Marvel Rivals does it, however, it provided a similar enough appearance that I was satisfied. In the top right corner, we have his highlight here. In the bottom left quadrant, we have his shadow. And in the bottom right quadrant, we have his not so dark additional shadow, creating 4 or 5 different levels and layers of texture that are being expressed. And, so you know, all of this is technically not using an unlit toon shader. That's right, Marvel Rivals isn't using one and I won't either. This is an opaque default lit shader. And it's running off of a lot of complex logic to modify, honestly, just the base color textures for a variety of different appearances. However, it is completely reactive to light. So as you see, whenever he turns around, that he will change his materials and lighting very easily. And it responds to all of his information on his character. Oh, T-pose. So, that's almost everything I really wanted to show you. But there's one last thing, which is I wanted to break perspective here and show you what's behind the curtain. So that anybody who's a little bit newer to all of this can see that it's honestly just all smoke and mirrors for a lot of game development. There are so many different factors that are built for very specific ways of interacting with it. And as you can see, while Nightcrawler himself is a 3D model that is able to be seen from anywhere in any position, much of this is very bespoke to this specific angle. So, as you can see, that's the Unreal 5 engine layout for Nightcrawler here, trying to replicate the Marvel Rivals style. As you can see, there's no AI usage, it's just Ishali and myself, and also a few screenshots that are photoshopped and a few models that are ripped in order to help keep things as accurate as possible, primarily as reference. If you want to see more, you can check out my ArtStation at the Ginger, where you can see my breakdown of the different textures that I've used and my process of approaching that. Additionally, you can check out Ishali at Ishali Arts at ArtStation, where you can check out her original concept and how she approached a lot of the different assets that she helped to contribute to for this project. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something.